I'll be home for Christmas. I am so excited to have the one and only Dr. Well, I call her Dr. Tam, but Tameka LaShonn is with me today, and I am so excited. We're just kind of letting y'all in on our conversation as we talk about tradition transitions. Yeah. As we enter into this holiday season, it is easy to get consumed with the way that things have always been. Mm-hmm. And one thing about grief, it changes everything.
Absolutely.
It has the ability to change everything. And sometimes we talk about it often, we say it often, but we don't really deal with the new normals and what that feels like and why you need to be able to evolve, having the grace to do so and not being punished for wanting to see things be different.
Yeah.
Because life is different now.
Yeah.
And so, Dr. Tam, I'm super excited to have you with me today.
I'm excited to be here.
Having this conversation. Dr. Tam has a podcast as well called Transitions with Dr. Tam.
Yes.
Where did that come from? What made you name it that?
Oh my goodness. Well, my life is that. It is a transition. And it's been a series of transitions. Mm-hmm. And, several years ago, I started a blog called Something Blue to Something New, from the old wedding adage, something borrowed, something blue, something new, that whole thing. And the whole purpose of that was to have a place to showcase all my wedding photos amidst this divorce and have my photographer leaked all the wedding photos on Facebook. And I was like, but people kept asking me, how's married life? How's married life? And it was like, it's over. And I was tired of rehearsing that story. Yeah. So I created a website where you can go and read it for yourself. And if there is a need for a conversation, it will be an informed one and a very short and abridged one. Well, fast forward several years, I'm in another transition. Mm-hmm. My children are all about to leave. I've just graduated a son who is now a college student, and I'm very excited about what my life is looking like. I'm looking at the fruits of my labor, and I wanted to share that story.
Yeah.
And the difference was this was a healthy transition. This was a happy transition. And I felt like if the world was deserving of a story that was based on trauma, why not triumph?
That is so good because we are often looking for the drama.
Yeah.
We're looking for the drama. We're looking for the trauma. We're looking for the thing that shook the foundation. But what's the thing that's settling it?
Absolutely.
Like, why can't we have the same type of celebration of the thing that's saying like, yo, this is good.
Yeah.
And life is good, which hearing you say that your kids are about to be gone kind of ages me.
Yes.
They were
such babies.
They were babies.
The youngest was in a carrier. Like I had him in a little carrier, bringing him to church.
I don't like that, Tam. I don't like that at all.
Getting a driver's license, ma'am.
Yikes. Yikes. I don't like that, but that is the way that life goes.
Yes.
Like the reality is.
Yes, we've known each other for a long time.
A long
Britt.
time, really. Wow. And I think that's such a beauty though, because I've seen you in different spaces, in different stages of life, and different ways of serving and all. Now for me, you've always been the same.
Wow.
It's like this joy about you has always been the same. But I think that's one of the things that makes people forget that you're human, that you've had experience, and that life has happened in many ways.
Over and over again.
Right. Every day, life is happening. Yeah. And I think for me, I am trying to make sure that I view people as human past the fact that what I see, what you're able to display to me, or the level of vulnerability that I'm deserving of in the space, that we share, is only for that moment.
Yeah.
Something happens to you and life can completely change its trajectory. For sure. And you could be a different Tam. How would I receive you? Yeah. And I often say, and I want to keep saying, I don't want people to have to experience what I experienced to handle me well.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I want them to be able to, just for the simple fact that we are all God's creation.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And in need of love and in need of grace and in need of compassion for one another, to understand that we're all going through something. Yeah. Something's changing. Something looks different than it did yesterday, whether it be, and this is not just about death loss, but this is about all types of loss, job transitions. Your children are going to college. Yeah. They're moving out, or they may have different careers and things like that as they That's the goal. Right? But those are transitions nonetheless. And do you feel like you have grieved all of your transition? Like, do you feel like you grieved, or did you kind of go like, all right, well, on to the next thing?
I love that you say, have I grieved, as if it is a singular event that happens, and once we're done, we're done. We're grieving.
Absolutely.
There are times, because of the specific stages of my children's lives, where I still feel the pains of being a single parent. And it makes me remember what happened that caused me to be a single parent.
Right.
So I'm still grieving in some regard, because it's not easy, right? And then when you know that people are in town who could alleviate the pressure and they don't, you go back to those feelings and you relive some of that process.
Do you think, because I can say from my perspective, saying a thing like grieved, have you grieved that? Because that comes from the thought of it's been this many years, right? And so we feel like it has this time limit. Here I am entering almost year 3 of being without my father. And I just had a moment. I had COVID again for the first time since then. I was like, I should not be feeling like this. And my therapist was like, girl, like you're trying to put this time limit on what you should feel and when you should feel it and how long you should feel it. And that's just not how this works.
No, not at all.
That's not how this works.
No.
And so subconsciously, I think we do put this like, I've seen you live, as a single mother for this amount of time. So is that process over for you? And for you to give verbiage to like the fact that like, no, this is continual. This happens as you are triggered by something still. And that's important to understand and not to make people feel like their triggers have an expiration date.
No, they don't. I like to say that grief is an ongoing journey, but the debilitation stops.
Right.
So at some point, I can experience it in a moment, and then the moment quickly passes because I've also given myself some replacement behaviors and some more positive different tools, correct. So where I once used to cry on my face, I don't even shed a tear anymore. But that doesn't mean that the thought doesn't cross or the anger doesn't exist or the sadness doesn't occur. It should. And I feel like allowing yourself to have all of those feelings, God wants that. He can't be a healer if you don't hurt. So at what point does he have space for you, or you have space for him rather, if you figured it out all in one moment, one setting?
I think I battle with that still, because I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready to talk to people about grief. I should be healed. And I am done with this. And a lot of the time, they kept me from sharing. Because it's like, they're probably tired of hearing about, like, you still whining about your dad, you still feeling like this. But when I realized how ongoing this process is,
for sure.
right? And when you realize new pain comes. So my therapist said something to me, and I was like, what? There's what? And I was telling her how I felt about something, and she was like, you know what? That's a good thing, because that means you're experiencing new pain.
Ooh.
And I was like, experiencing new pain? So you saying I'm paying you for nothing? 'Cause I thought you're supposed to make this stop. And she was like, because there was a space where you could only deal with your father. And the grief that you felt from that. And so now the fact that you were able to acknowledge hurt in another area, or feeling something like that, that means we're coming along on this journey. And that was hard. I was like, I don't like that. But that means you put your tools to work. And they're working. And that's a part of the process. And that's, I think, what healing actually looks like.
I remember a lady telling me, she was like, the day that you smile again, it's going to be so pure and so genuine. It's going to be a different version of happiness and joy than you've ever experienced before. And of course, this was at a time where I was crying every 10 minutes, and
so like how?
Losing weight exponentially quickly because I could not eat, So when she said that, I was like, I want to be Rip Van Winkle. and sleep my days away
Yes.
and wake up when I feel better.
Yes.
And I just didn't know when that day would come. And I actively tried to not cry.
Yeah,
I actually
absolutely.
put like timers on my phone. We're not going to cry for 30 minutes. And that worked sometimes because it's like I got students coming back from lunch. I can't be take out your bugs and multiply. You know what I mean? So that was the issue.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, when I did get to a place to where I smiled, I remembered her words. And that is the same message I'm paying it forward.
Absolutely.
People who are going through the things, whether it is a physical loss through death or an emotional loss through divorce or, whatever.
Absolutely.
You will smile again.
Yes,
and when
you will.
that day comes, it's going to be so pure and so genuine.
Yes.
It's going to feel different than any other smile before.
Yes.
And it's not because I'm over it. It's
Right.
because I made it.
Yes, that is so good. I love that you say I'm paying it forward. Like, this is all about paying it forward.
Absolutely.
To help you all understand that where you are right now is not where you've ever been, but it's not where you'll always be.
Yeah.
And a day is coming where you're going to experience joy again.
Yeah.
The holidays may feel happy, and it may just be for that year. I don't want us to be consumed with, if I want pizza for Thanksgiving, that something has gone wrong.
Because, baby, it is easy.
Listen, it's much easier. Throw the box out.
Correct.
Everybody go home.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
And so I want us to not be consumed as we approach the holidays, as we approach just life in general, y'all. Every day, realizing that wanting something different, doing something different, feeling something different, however it comes, is
It's okay.
okay. And there's a day that's coming where you won't feel that way. You won't feel the same way about it. I for the longest, with my dad, I was going to the cemetery and I was just hollering and just, but I was like, but I want to go out here. Like, this is the last thing that I can do. And so sometimes now but there are days where I can go out there and I feel joy.
Yeah.
I feel joy that he lived well.
Yeah.
And I have stories to tell. And then there are days where I still feel pain.
Yeah,
And then when I feel the pain, I'm like, but listen, joy's coming.
Yes.
Joy's coming. It's here. It really is here, and it's ours to have.
Yeah.
And I believe that as we approach the holidays, though, Dr. Tam, what do you say to people whose holiday may look totally different than it did last year? And with those transitions, what is something that you feel like, or one tool that you feel like they could use to help them process the new of this year?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about it?
Walking into Thanksgiving, and your life looks different than it did from the last Thanksgiving.
Right.
You really have to determine what it is you need and go with that.
Yes.
People will be okay when they have to understand that you're taking care of your needs.
Right.
This is not just me withdrawing or me, you know what I mean?
Right.
This is me taking care of my needs. At first, I needed a lot of time with people because my idle time was consumed with such tormenting thoughts.
Right.
But eventually, I was able to do some other things with my time. And because this was the only time that I have off, I would rather spend it doing other things in other places and exploring the world,
Yeah.
Even just the idea of exploring the world, that came by way of tragedy. I ended up on my honeymoon by myself.
Right.
That was my my introduction to solo traveling. And listen, I thought I was supposed to be sad.
Right.
But I had such a good time.
I enjoyed it.
Let me tell you the first thing I did, right? So I had such a good time. And then from there, the fear
Yes.
was removed because I was thrust into a situation where I had to survive, and I was actually enjoying the moment.
Right.
So sometimes in these transitions,
Right.
we are thrust into an opportunity to explore a new version of joy.
Right.
And we can't let people's stronghold over their norms for you, their ideas for you. At the end of the day, if it's not dishonoring God,
Right.
and if it's not disrespecting people, people are going to have to just grow or go.
Go that way.
We're not going to do this story of Lot all over again by
Yes.
dragging you
And trying to
when you
make
don't
yeah.
belong,
Absolutely.
right? And forcing you to make decisions that are not comfortable for you.
Right.
Because sometimes for the holidays, for a lot of people, it is triggering. It's triggering
Absolutely.
because you're used to Dad carving the turkey.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
You know, you're used to him sitting at the head of the table. You're used to
Right.
the aroma, and grandma's not here with that white diamonds. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right,
So
right,
whatever the case
right.
may be, now you're in a situation where I'm in an environment that is familiar, but that family feel is no longer there. And I'm not trying to bring to you all of my stuff
Right.
too.
I need
Because
a
now
minute.
you're going to be tiptoeing around me,
Right.
because these triggers are going to elicit some probably human responses.
Mm-hmm.
So while we're all going around the table talking about what we're thankful for,
I don't have anything.
right? And who wants that, right?
Right.
So sometimes what you need is that space. I remember
Yeah.
one time when I was in college, it was, I want to say my 22nd birthday happened to land on Thanksgiving. And I didn't feel like going home. I did not feel like going to my parents' house for Thanksgiving. And of course, you know, my mother, she's great, gave me the space to make that decision. And all I could do was go to Denny's, because I found out that everything was closed. And all my friends went to their homes for Thanksgiving. So now I'm in Austin, Texas alone. That opportunity to spend Thanksgiving alone made me not want to spend it alone again.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So sometimes
Right.
people should also know that in order for someone to learn a thing, they have to go through a thing. And if I'm in a different place in life and I don't feel like doing the holidays the way we once did, I might realize in that difference that I actually do want to do the holidays
Right.
the way, but I will never know,
I wouldn't know until I
unless
had
I'm
that
being given the
experience.
opportunity. Correct.
Absolutely.
And then I just feel like other opportunities to spend with each other are always available.
Absolutely.
Maybe not Thanksgiving,
Right.
maybe Valentine's Day. You know, I love Arbor Day. Arbor Day is
Day.
the real turn up.
That is great for me. I love Arbor Day. I would say to people though, don't force it. Don't force it. Feel what you feel while you feel it.
Yeah.
Because if you try to make yourself feel something different, you're gonna be more upset with
Absolutely.
what you put on than you would be had you just followed through with what
Right.
you felt initially.
Correct.
And I think people have to take into consideration, like you said, sometimes we like want to keep the traditions going and we want to keep doing it this way and we want to keep doing it the way we've always done it, when in
Right.
reality, pieces of that are gone.
Yeah.
And if we don't acknowledge that, or we try to, no, but we still got to have the turkey this way, then I think we rob ourselves of enjoying each other in new spaces.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if I only can enjoy you around the table doing this, then I might realize that I don't actually like you outside of this space.
Right.
And I think for some people, like, you realize, like, man, like, realize that difference, you find that difference between relatives and family.
For sure.
And people that you actually want to do life with and people that bring you joy
For sure.
and all the things. Sometimes it takes not having them around for you to go, this feels,
Yeah.
this might work out.
I like it.
I like it here.
Yeah.
You know?
And the honest to goodness truth is, you know, I've evolved as a person. You know, I'm definitely not the same person I've always been. And the people who are true to the game, they've also evolved too.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
you do have some people in life who can walk with you through life. So my closest friends have seen me at my worst, and they may have been advantageous to helping me pick myself up. And it wasn't because they were trying to force me into the former version of myself. It's because they were mature enough to embrace where I am, and let's just walk through life together.
Yes.
And if life means now we're bowling every weekend,
Yes. Yes.
or if life means it's just FaceTime, it's cool.
Yeah.
Because what we want is for you to be well.
Right.
And wellness looks different now because of the life changes.
Right.
You know? So I think it's important that we differentiate what's a tradition and for why. Some things were a thing and a way for the history of time.
Right.
But let me tell you, if things had not changed, although it was a tradition, slavery would still exist.
Right now,
Hello? Today. So it's a good thing
that some of these traditions
have changed.
Listen,
okay?
And those are the things we need to embrace.
Correct. And let's not be in modern day slavery within our family.
That, you preaching good.
I'm in now this bondage situation.
Right.
And if there's anything that I've realized in life, I have added context and content to the meaning of the scripture.
Yes.
God loves a cheerful giver. Not grudgingly or of necessity, right?
Right.
So if God doesn't even want what we have when we're whining about it.
That's good. That's really good.
You are wasting your time trying to draw from an empty well.
That's absolutely right.
Let me fill back up.
So I can give it to you.
So I can give it to you properly.
Yeah.
And the way I give it to you might be different. You cannot pour a gallon into a cup. So all that you're trying to feed me, I don't even have the capacity right now to hold that.
Right.
And it's causing this overflow that looks like a spill.
Right.
This is not the overflow, my cup runneth over.
No,
this is a ticking time bomb.
Right.
That may actually ruin the relationship because you didn't give me an opportunity to process change.
And understand it for myself first.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of the times in transition, you have to get it first before. I have to understand what the need is now for me to be able to give it out and say, hey, I'm going to need this.
Yeah.
I'm going to need this for me to survive. I say often, what's the Brittany recipe?
For sure.
Pastor Chan will say this to me, what's your recipe? What do you
Yeah.
need?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, well, we can't get no further than that until we know what you need.
Yeah.
Because we're going to always be missing something. It's going to
Yeah.
always feel incomplete. It's going to always not make sense.
Yeah.
I got to understand me first. This version of me now, we're still getting to know each other.
Yeah.
We are still deciding if we like each other or not. And in that decision making time, like, I need to be able to present her well to you so that you can decide if you like her or not.
Yeah.
Because as I evolve, as I change, as I embrace what life looks like now, I find myself trying to be like, trying to stop myself from trying to be who she was.
Yes.
Because that version made people feel different.
Yeah.
They responded different, or they didn't act like that. And so maybe I should go back to her. But it's like, no, I'm okay with not doing that. I don't want to is enough. I don't feel like it today is plenty.
Absolutely.
I don't have enough to show up for that.
Yeah.
You said something earlier, the disclaimers. It's like,
disclaimers.
Hey, I don't have that today. And I love you. I want to be here for you, but I don't have that today. Giving people the space to say that, and for people who are supporting grievers or just around, having to people with a new process, or they're in a different day-to-day lifespan. It's like, listen, give people the grace to figure themselves out and tell you what they need. And when they say they don't want to, don't force people to be in a space that they're not in.
Right. And I don't know is an appropriate answer.
Yes.
What is it that you need? I'm not sure. Okay. I am not a chef by any means, but I can tell if something is nasty. Right.
This I know.
So what it needs to remedy that, I might not be sure of. But what I am saying is I can't ingest this.
Yes.
And sometimes in life, I don't know what it is I need, but I do know what's repulsive. You know what I mean? I know what I cannot ingest. And so I can't take crowds. I can't take, this huge family gathering with the two family members that don't even speak to me and they're going to cause chaos, right? I can't take that. I know that I don't have the capacity for that. So if that means I need to be with a different set of family members, or if I need to shorten the time or the duration of my visit, or whatever it may look like for you, if I need to skip out on the turkey because, listen, I'm vegan now. However that looks.
Y'all later.
Hello. You know what I mean?
When I came, I saw.
Absolutely. I came and I saw. And sometimes when you have a little bit more control over what that visit looks like or what those holidays look like, that helps restore the joy.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when you do see me again, it might be just Christmas Eve.
Right.
Or it might be Thanksgiving Eve or the date Black Friday.
Listen,
we're going to do Black Friday and spend no money because it's not really a sale.
It's not a sale.
Okay.
And we don't need TVs.
Correct. And if the point of it is family, if the point of it is gathering, if the point of it is fellowship, then however it comes,
Yes.
you should be okay. This goes back to, there's a thorn in my flesh,
Yes.
but your grace is sufficient.
Yes. Yes.
So however it comes, it's sufficient.
Right. And let that
Because
be
we're
enough.
here.
Because we're here together.
Let that be enough.
Let that be enough. Don't force people to feel like if they don't do it during this time,
Yeah.
that they missed the mark somehow. Like you said, catch a girl on Valentine's Day.
Absolutely.
Like, listen, I might feel better then. That's a good time to get together.
Yeah.
Spending time with your family, loving on your family should be an ongoing thing, so that holidays don't have to be
For
so
sure.
pressing and feel so obligatory. Like, I gotta do this because I ain't seen them all year.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, figure out other times to see each other and to meet up with each other, and let that be, state fair or whatever. You know what I
Yes.
mean? There's different opportunities to connect with people. But I think more importantly, just not pressuring people to perform
Yes.
this performance-based salvation, this performance-based family relationship. It doesn't work in the end.
it doesn't.
It doesn't work in the end. So if it's not a genuine connection, then you are actually plaguing me more than you're blessing me. And that will weigh on the quality of the relationship.
Of relationship in general. I always, and we're gonna wrap up, but I always think about like, well, you gotta do that because that's your mama, that's your daddy, that's your auntie. So you gotta do this because that's your granny, and you gotta because that. Be able to, that's not from a space of disrespect. I don't
Right.
believe that you disrespect people in their being your elders or. But I think that it is important that we view people as human.
Yeah.
And the space that you can create with them genuinely is important.
Yes.
If you don't
Yes.
genuinely bring me joy, I do not have to subject myself
Yeah.
to your presence. And I'm not going to force myself to feel like I have to.
Yeah.
There's no disrespect to you.
Yeah.
There's just, I think it's even more respectful
Yeah.
for me to be where I can be most comfortable.
For sure.
And if that's without your presence,
Yeah.
let that be for
Yeah.
me.
And the truth is, that person might bring you joy, but that occasion might not. So you're not even getting the best of me because of the occasion.
Right.
You know,
Can't
a
even
newly
be able
divorced person might not want to come to your bridal shower.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, while I'm celebrating you and I'm happy for you, this
Yeah.
occasion is triggering. So let me, get a chance to celebrate you or celebrate with you differently.
Yeah.
So I think just because it's your mom, hey, Jesus said, who's my mama and my brother, but those who are doing, you see what I'm saying? So it's like, if there's a purpose, and the purpose right now is to heal, the purpose right now is to sit and reflect and
Yes.
resolve,
Yes.
then my love for you didn't change, but my capacity did.
Yes, that's very good.
And just give me an opportunity, give me some time to figure out this capacity.
Absolutely.
And connection is most important. I live 8 hours away from my parents. So I don't see them often. But the quality of the time that we have together is beautiful.
Right.
And at the end of the day, at any given moment, if I need to call Arthur and Barbara, they're in a car and they're on their way.
Yeah.
Because the distance has nothing to do with their drive and their love toward me.
Absolutely.
They understand that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So because of that core understanding, whether I'm in their presence every other weekend or every other holiday is not the point.
Right.
They'd be more concerned if I didn't send them a meme. They'd be more concerned if I didn't post something with the kids. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because they know my norms and
Right.
they've been able to adapt and adjust to my new norms. So allow people to be new.
Yes. And don't penalize them as we close, as we kind of wrap this up. Don't penalize people for where they are right now.
Yeah.
The reality is they may not be here forever. And so it's like, oh, don't next year when they decide that Thanksgiving, they can handle Thanksgiving. Don't go, oh, you can come this year. Where was you at last year? Like,
Yeah.
we do that thing. Y'all know y'all can be shady. You know how you handle people.
Right,
Oh, like, oh, you couldn't make it to that, but you can make it to this.
Yeah.
Do not penalize people for
Yeah.
the space that they are in right now, because the reality is it could be any of us at any moment feeling the weight of grief for
Yes.
whatever reason.
Yeah.
And just because it's not your season right now doesn't mean that there isn't a season that's coming that you may need the same type of tools and support to get through. So I hope that as we enter into this holiday season and as you enter into traditions, that may look different this year, that you give yourself grace, give other people grace, and space to heal and do what's best for them, and let them build whatever recipe is necessary for their lives. I want to thank you so much, Dr. Tam.
Anytime.
For sitting with me and having this conversation and many more conversations to come, because I think that it's just important that we talk it out.
Yes.
Like, let's keep talking it out. I thank you so much for spending your time with us. And I want to make sure that I encourage you every time and every chance I get to remind you that it's not easy. Healing is not easy, but one, you've got to participate in it. And even though it's not easy, what I have come to realize is that it is possible. Keep going, keep trying, keep striving. I love you. I'm praying for you. We'll talk soon. I'll be home for Christmas.